please could you tell us what your spiritual lineage believes with regard to life after death and reincarnation?
In my lineage, certain arguments are presented by the sacred texts which were written millennia ago in support of reincarnation. First example given is that without the idea of a past life, there is no way to understand justice in this world. For example, if somebody was born blind and that person says, "What did I do that I was born blind?" What answer can we give to that person? If we say it is a consequence of your deeds, he says, this is my only life, then I never did anything until I was born. And if we say it is the will of the Supreme, well, the Supreme should be causelessly merciful. Why should the Supreme want us to be born blind? So the only logical answer is it is a consequence of our deeds from the past. And then the second argument given is that observe a little infant child, a 1 month old infant. Without reason, that baby sometimes becomes fearful. Without reason, the baby sometimes becomes joyful or miserable. So at that time, it has not yet completely forgotten its past. Some of the images are still embedded in its subconscious. And slowly, slowly, the impressions of this life fall so strongly that at that point, then the past images start getting erased. Even then, in our childhood, very often we get this experience which the French call deja vu. Oh my God, I've seen this somewhere. This seems familiar to me. So that is because we have certain impressions in our subconscious from our past life. So finally, our sacred texts say that in this life itself, we are changing bodies from little child to youth to old age. Likewise, what we call as death is merely the soul discarding the body that is no longer functional to take on another body in its journey.
Hmm. Eh, If we could just continue on that line of thinking for a moment, Swamiji, what I have a little bit of a problem understanding is when we pass from this body, to my mind, we have the brain, and within the brain is the ego. Does the ego just collapse? Like right now, we appear to be relying on the ego to be who we are, at least in this mundane life. So, does it collapse and do we become just pure spirit? We talk about merging with God, with the ocean of consciousness, but does any of this little self go with us?
That little self, yes. See, as was so nicely put by Saint Francis, that you have to die to the little self to be born to eternal life. So that little self is the ego. Very rightly said, the biggest enemy on the spiritual path, the biggest obstacle. The ego is created by misidentification of the self. When we think, I am this corporeal body of flesh, blood, pus, I am this mind, I am my intellect, and these are all my ideas. So, this misidentification is what causes the ego. And the sword of knowledge That's all that ignorance. And then the real identification, I am pure spirit and I am one with the universal spirit. That true ego is not a problem. That true ego is in fact elevating.